greetings and salutations one and all. Welcome to the Community and Finance on the Night Shift with DJ Kevin Stew. How you doing?
Nobody just look onto me, no questions, girl, put your hand on your knees. Why you, baby, oh please. Woman, you don't know what you're doing to me, no questions, girl, push it back slowly. Girl, I'm ready, oh please, yeah. Give me wine, give me that, give me wine, oh yeah, give me wine, give me that, give me wine, oh yeah. Could it be you and me, yeah? So much potential, yeah. Could it be you and me, yeah? You are so special. Oh yeah, I feel the ecstasy. You and me forever. Oh yeah, love the way you make me feel, yeah. Oh, you push up on me right nice when everybody just look onto me. No questions, girl, put your hand on your knees. Why you, baby, oh please. Woman, you don't know what you're doing to me. No questions, girl, push it back slowly. Girl, I'm ready, oh please, yeah. Give me one, give me that, give me one, oh yeah, give me one, give me that, give me one, oh yeah. Could it be you and me, yeah? So much potential, yeah. Could it be you and me, yeah? You are so special. Oh, you are the lover. Oh, you give me wine like the water. Every man here will be wire. Thinking out loud, can I wire? Everything I have is yours. Yeah. Tell me how I'm made. Oh, girl, already. Give me wine.
The sound of voice. The track is called Potential.
Oh, yeah.
Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, good day to you wherever you are in the world. Welcome to the Night Shift to DJ Kevin Stew, Community and Finance Night. How you doing? Inviting you to call a friend, tell a friend, friends of your friends, friends of your enemies, enemies of your friends, call everybody. Tell them it's a Night Shift to DJ Kevin Stew.
Woman, you don't know what you're doing to me. No questions, girl, push it back slowly.
Wanna say big ups to all the affiliates across the globe.
Give me one,
One Harmony Radio over there in the UK. Top of the morning to you.
give me one,
Big ups to those on NIE Radio out of New Jersey.
give me that,
Island Worldwide out of New York, exhibiting the power of music. Much love to you. WGLRO out of Texas. Home of the Donny Walker Morning Show, the People Station. Taking it from the sheets to the streets. Touching from Detroit to Denmark and every point in between. Big ups to Oliwap Radio and Dusik Media Groups also representing Texas. Much love to you. Big ups to Foundation Radio Network. ClintonLindsay.com representing South Florida. PEMG TV, big ups to you. Those locked in on TuneIn Radio, the Night Shift to DJ Kevin Stew, much love to you. If you're locked in on Facebook Live, how you doing? Inviting you to share. The track is called Potential. VICE, the sound of voice. I want to say big ups to the segment sponsors, Pulse Media Group, and being in the moment is priceless. They can take care of your videography, photography, streaming, and your ads. Give them a call, 754-999-1140. Or check them out online, pulsemg.com. Thank you to Althea and her Healing Heavenly Hands. Althea is a licensed massage therapist operating out of Broad County, North Miami-Dade, and South Palm Beach counties. She comes to you, bring her table, her oils, and of course her Healing Heavenly Hands. Give her a call, 954-655-9000, or email her at thealater@att.net. That's THEALATER @att.net. Outside of paying her, she only requests that you get off her table when she's done and go sleep somewhere else. I want to say thank you to Reggae Global Entertainment. Reggae Global will act as your booking agent, handle your tour management, take care of your legal contracts, copyrights, trademarks, business registration, legal service referrals, music productions, marketing and promotion, and more. Give them a call, 954-804-8199. That's 954-804-8199. Or check them out online at reggaeglobalentertainment.com. Thank you also to McNeil Trucking. With McNeil Trucking, you're in good hands for all your removal needs. Give them a call, 954-406-9740. Tell them DJ Kevin Stew sent you. Come on, you and me, right there, you have a whole lot of potential. And that's where things get started, with having some potential. Now, without further ado, I have with me the woman of the moment, joining me by way of telephone. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you none other than Miss Queen Marrero.
Hello, Kevin. Thank you for inviting me tonight.
Hello, Miss Queen. How are you?
I am doing well.
Excellent.
How are you?
I am good. I am well. I
Great,
can't
great.
complain at all. Now, I thank you, first of all, for taking the time out to join us tonight and to talk with us a little bit about grants and
My
some of the
pleasure.
things that we might be missing out on, and how we could possibly learn of grants and such. But before we get into that, who is Queen Marrero?
Oh, just a regular person.
Listen, I've met you in
That just
person.
loves
There's
grants and
nothing
contracts.
regular about you. I have met you in person, lady. Come on now.
Oh, well, basically, just to say a little bit about me, I'm a retired Army veteran. I served 36 years in the Army. I also worked for the federal and state government in grants and contracts research administration. So that is really my passion in helping nonprofits as well as profits and individuals find the funding they need for their project and program initiatives. I honestly believe that where there's vision, God gives provision. So you should not have to be going into debt, borrowing from Peter to pay Paul, and credit card debts and loans to
Mm-hmm.
bring that vision that God has given you to fruition. So whatever that vision is, whatever that business is that you want to start, sustain, or grow that will allow you to serve the community at large and create and leave generational wealth for your children and grandchildren. It's very important to know that, that God will provide and the funding is there, especially in this COVID climate, this pandemic. The money is flowing from the government and foundations and private philanthropists. And I encourage people to definitely go after those grants and contracts during this climate
Mm-hmm.
because you're
Mm-hmm.
more likely to win now.
Oh, really?
Now is the climate. Everything is right.
Okay, so all right, let's start off with that. What is it that makes now the right time? What is it that where the
Because
stars
now that
align
usually
right?
whenever there's a crisis, like with the crisis in Haiti with the earthquake and all, they need people out there that have the heart and soul to help. What is it that you do that the government can purchase products or services from you to help during a crisis?
Mm,
Let's say you have a trucking company and you need more laborers, so you can start like a workforce development training center to help people get their CDL license so you can purchase more 18-wheeler trucks to get products to the ocean liners and send them over to Haiti,
mm.
send those projects to Haiti. The products that they need, medical supplies, food, clothing, timber, lumber, whatever we can, you know, to haul over there, by ship or
Okay.
plane.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure that, the airport is open, but I know they are shipping products, but we don't have enough CDL drivers to get the products to the shipyards, so they can be shipped over to Haiti. And this is hurricane season. So now you have to think about, how do I help service foreign nations, even our own nations, the Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico, as they be hit hard by this weather and this global warming, this climate change is affecting everything all around the world. And then this pandemic on top of that, having to deal with that. What can we do during this climate? So the government and foundations and private philanthropists, they're searching for people to help because it seemed like the harvest is ripe, but the laborers are few.
Mm.
So we need more help. So they have the money. If you can help, you know, tell us what is it that you can do during this climate. Can you create jobs? People are losing jobs. People are losing their homes. Are you a realtor or a real estate investor? Can you renovate homes, build homes, transitional homes, help these people who are lost their homes, So there's all types of services they're needing right now during this global warming, climate change, and pandemic and all this stuff. So a lot going on, and we just need the help,
Mm.
and whatever you can do to help, find out what is your gift, and how can you help during this climate.
Now that when you paint a scenario like helping where you are,
Hmm.
doing what you do to provide aid to a whole country
Yes.
several thousands of miles away, it gives the impression that it is for your big companies, your big organizations that
Mm-mm.
are established for, a couple, at least 5, 10 years doing business already, that something like this would be beneficial to.
No, it doesn't matter how long you've been in business. That's one of the misconceptions about winning grants. They're saying, oh, you got to be in business for a certain amount of years in order
Mm.
to win this type of funding. That's not true. if you have the vision, if you have the experience and expertise, or you can get people on board with this, the experience and expertise to get things done, to do the work, you can still get be awarded, the grant funding. You can still get grants and contracts for that matter.
All right, so maybe we should get an idea of what grants are to get started, because people have been hearing about grants for a long time. It's not
Hmm.
a new word. Just last week I was talking about financial aid and loans for higher education.
Hmm.
And grants was one of those. Getting a grant was one of those things that was included in the methods of getting the funding you need for a higher education. So, is it any different from a business? Is it the same global thing when you mention a grant? What is
Yes,
a grant?
grants are global. um, Grants is basically a way the government, foundations, and other, private philanthropists and all that fund your projects and ideas. Grants is money that does not need to be repaid. In a sense, it's free money. Um, Grants are global. What you can do for your community, you can do for the state that you live in. You can do it for your community, your county, your state. It can be national and international. Grants are global. You
Mm,
don't have to be a citizen to win a grant. Even felons can win grants to start a business. Let's say you just got out of jail and you
right.
want to start a lawn care business or something like that, and you're really good at it,
Mm-hmm.
and you can train other people to work. You know how to create jobs. Okay, I got the lawn service business. I need equipment. You can get grants to get your equipment. You get grants to get seed money to start your business, sustain your business, grow your business, general operating support, continuous support, youth development programs, all different types of ways and projects to get the grant funding that you need.
And you said you've worked with the federal government to
Hmm.
on so that's on the issuing side, or the creating of the grant side, or the requesting
Well,
of the grants.
when we're well, in working in grants and contracts on the federal side of contracting, uh, the government buys the products and services it needs from the general public, non-government agencies. So let's
Okay.
say if you have a product or you have a service that the government needs, you can win a contract and they be in the millions of dollars.
But
And
that's
then
for the government's
what I
use.
did, I worked in the procurement part where we need people to come in. So I'm purchasing services, I'm purchasing products from the community, that the federal government may need, like
Got you.
um, in relocating, a military installation, closing one and opening another, and establishing telecommunications networks and things of that nature. So we're hiring different types of organizations to come in, establish our networking
Hmm.
and networks and different things they contract out. Um, and then on the government side too, as far as grants, working in the university system where we need different types of services, um, or we're securing grants to help with research initiatives. Or so I've seen both sides of grants and contracts, whether in
Mm.
procurement or just distributing out grants and stuff of that nature. So the government, it does purchase goods and services through contracts.
Hmm.
And then when you, or especially your nonprofit organizations, um, if you need assistance, then you can get. grant funding for that assistance. You don't need to be going out getting loans and credit cards when there's free money there
But
to help you with your business.
you said especially for non-for-profits, but what
Yeah,
about your for-profits though?
the nonprofit 501c3 organization is the most competitive at winning grants, whether it's from
Mm.
government or foundations or private philanthropists. The nonprofit 501c3 is more competitive at winning that. And then you don't have to be a nonprofit 501c3 to win a grant. It could be something else that you're needing, just general operating support to support an initiative, um, like shipping goods to certain places. Like let's say
Like the
you have a
example you
let's say
used.
you are a private company and you own some trucks and you don't mind, shipping goods to Haiti.
Mm-hmm.
Then the government can use your vehicles. Let's say you want to purchase more vehicles, get a grant to purchase more vehicles for that initiative. You don't have to be a nonprofit 501c3 to do that because of the climate and what is it that you're trying to get done. So I need a new vehicle, so I'm going to get a grant to get the vehicle. Then I'm going to get the contract from the government that will load up all the goods on my trucks and ship. Then I can drive to the port to unload.
Mm.
All these. You got to be creative. Think out of the box as to what you can do.
Right, right.
But you don't have to be a nonprofit 501c3 to win a grant. It's just that they're more competitive at winning, and they
Mm.
win the most grants. So,
Ah,
but to start a nonprofit 501c3 only takes about 3 or 4 weeks, and it only costs like $275. You only need 3 members on your board of directors,
right.
and then, I teach the class how to start a nonprofit 501c3. I teach the class how to find and win grants, how to find and win contracts, how to write a business plan, how to write an effective grant proposal, how to write an effective contract proposal. I teach those classes by webinars online. They're just live webinars,
Mm-hmm.
and I teach them throughout the week, and most of them are on Saturdays, usually 2 to 4 hours. You know, very good, very effective classes if you really want to know about how to win government grants and contracts. I would encourage people to visit my website and register for the classes at, gotgrants.eventbrite.com, and or they
Okay.
can call your station and get more
Oh,
information on
yeah,
registration.
yeah. We'll talk a little bit more about that,
Mm.
in a little in a moment. For those of you who are listening in, and you might have some questions, feel free to call in. You know the number, 773-789-STEW, 773-789-7839. You can call, you can text, you can WhatsApp, you can Telegram. I do encourage you to actually call in and ask your questions tonight, because you could actually either get a direct answer depending on what it is, or you may have to set an appointment with Miss Queen to figure out, how to best move forward from this point that you're at right now. So you can call 773-789-STEW, 773-789-7839. Those of you watching, you'll see it rolling across the bottom of your screen right there, a little ticker. Yeah, the number is right there. Those of you on Facebook Live, use a link that is pinned in the comment section. Come on over for the remainder of the broadcast to kevinstew.com. We're going to talk with Miss Queen some more, and see how she can point us in the right direction. Again, this is something that she teaches. This is something that she does for a living. So she's not here to give away all her tips and pointers. The link to come over to kevinstew.com. Script, how you doing, bro? Is right there, pinned in the description. Just click on it. It takes you straight to kevinstew.com. it be interactive in the stew pot. It's what others call a chat room, but because we're fancy over here on kevinstew.com, it's the stew pot. It's where we keep things interactive and bubbling. And remember, you come to kevinstew.com to have acceptance through enlightenment. So we're getting enlightened tonight with some of the ways that we can grow. And believe me,
Yes.
this is one of those things that we need in our community because
Definitely.
and there are some communities, generally speaking, ethnically speaking, culturally speaking, that would stand to benefit a whole lot more than others with some of this information. Miss Queen, in
Yes.
your experience, who who do you see benefiting the least from available grants?
Who would benefit the
As
least?
in, who? No, let me not ask it that way. Um, who do you see taking advantage the least of available grants? That is the right question.
Well, you can about say that it's basically the minority populations, African Americans, because it seems that, um, well, it's not even just to say you can say statistically underserved, distressed communities, or you'll find the majority of the people in underserved, distressed communities are African Americans,
Mm.
minorities that continue to have unfair disadvantages uh, in the global marketplace, and economically speaking. Um, that a lot of it is based on systemic racism, um, and a lot of it, um, you know, based on misconceptions and uh, misguidance about how to go about getting and securing grants and contracts.
Hmm.
So it's like it's some big secret that's held back from minorities, or the fear of thinking that they're not eligible to receive grants or contracts. They don't, you're not really being taught about it. So they don't pursue it. Some may have heard about it, but still haven't tried to apply
Right.
because a lot of the myths and blocks and things of that nature. Um, so my people perish for lack of knowledge. So you have to
Right.
study these different things and ways of how to start your business. And even though when we see a lot of people, that may be dropouts or reentry, disabled, they still can get grants, you know,
Hmm.
and not worry about having to pay the money back. Seniors can get grants to renovate their homes. So individuals can get grants, especially our senior populations. We see a lot of distressed communities, a lot of the seniors having to go into nursing homes because they don't know about how to go about getting grants. But if we have an organization that knows how to help seniors renovate their homes so they can age at home, we can get them the personal care services that they need instead of putting them into, facilities.
Right.
Renovate their homes, make their homes safe and green, so that it can age at home. And it's a lot the grandchildren can learn from their grandparents,
Hmm.
you know, and help, that would be a wonderful thing. But we don't have that community service that where the whole village is working together to keep their communities healthy and strong and economically vibrant. So we have to learn how to do these things and tap into grants and contracts to help.
Right. So
Mhm.
when
So you'll see a lot, the least the because I've spoken at conferences where thousands of people are there, and I would ask the question, how many have applied for grants? And probably out of thousands, and you see 5 or 6 hands go up.
What
They
do you think
just
the
don't
fear
apply.
is? What do you think the fear is with
Thinking
applying for
that it's
grants?
going to be, thinking they're not eligible, number one, thinking they're not eligible
Mm-hmm.
because they don't, nobody teaches it per se,
Right.
um, or advertise grants. It's not something that's advertised. So no one pursues it. And then when we want to start a business, we usually start what? A for profit business.
Right.
And a lot of times they'll start for profit business without a business plan.
Mm-hmm.
You got to have a plan, a business plan, whether you start a profit or a nonprofit. And I say start both because that for profit organization is going to be more competitive at winning government grants, contracts.
Right. Right.
And
Right.
the nonprofit will be more competitive at winning grants. So why not be competitive at winning both grants and contracts and not having to use your own money or loans to start, sustain, or grow your business?
You see, this again. This is a little bit of information that a lot of us have been missing out on, and I say us because I'm speaking generally and I'm including myself in it.
Mm-hmm.
I remember first hearing about grants while I was working for the Salvation Army years ago, and
Mm-hmm.
I had a coworker that actually writes grants and
Mm-hmm.
have written grants for community agencies that she has also worked with. She has been a guest on my broadcast. She was tuning in a little bit earlier. Also, she shared this broadcast on social media. You know, big ups to you, Sylvia. Thank you, again, by the way. And years ago, she was saying, this is what a lot of us are missing out on, and we're not looking for the information. We're not speaking to the right people to get the information to learn about these things. You have people
Mm-hmm.
from other groups, ethnic groups, that are capitalizing on this,
Yes.
and we are missing out, and we're missing out on an opportunity to build generational wealth
Mm-hmm.
with free money, because that's
Right.
basically what it is. Free
And you're
money.
leaving a legacy too. You start a nonprofit 501c3, and you make room for your children and grandchildren to grow in that organization. Let's say if you have a nonprofit and you are a realtor and
Mm-hmm.
or a real estate investor and you want to do transitional housing, independent living communities, or uh, assisted living communities, senior living communities. People are buying houses and paying rent through your organization. And then if you're having communities that offer different types of human services, personal care services. Um, you're having resource centers in your communities where they can learn different types of, workforce development skills, business development, training. I mean, there'll be something for everybody to do. Even if you have a health clinic, telehealth type access in your resource center. I mean, it's just
Mm.
unlimited to what you can do with free money.
The same
you
things
know,
that you can do with a non-profit, you can do with a
exactly.
for-profit. Correct.
Right. And I think, too, one of
So
the misconceptions is that people don't know that you can have a salary with fringe benefits when you have a nonprofit 501c3. You can get a grant and it will cover down on your salary and fringe benefits, and you can set your own salary. There is more. I believe the nonprofit 501c3 is more advantageous than the for profit. It does everything that a for profit does, and it's tax free and
mm,
with free money. But no one
so
tells you to start the nonprofit first. We always start the for profit first
right.
and then wind up getting into a lot of debt. Why not start the nonprofit first? And then use that money, to help you start a for profit. you especially from your salary and all that. Is look at these nonprofits. A lot of these big ones,
Hmm.
the founders are
They
multimillionaires.
are.
Multimillionaires had to start from somewhere. Look at Goodwill, for instance. Goodwill
Hmm.
sells clothing, shoes, furniture from
Hmm.
things that people donated, but they're creating jobs.
Right.
But they're selling stuff that people donate. They're generating revenue, paying salaries with fringe benefits. They're a nonprofit 501c3.
Yeah.
Yes, you can generate your salaries. I mean, you can generate wealth.
I, there's without getting too much into that side of it, there's a conception that there's a concept that um, some of these organizations, that is exactly why they got into creating these non-profits so that the creators can profit.
No,
You know,
they're
that
not
is the concept.
profiting in that sense. They're profiting in that they do have a
Hmm.
salary with fringe benefits,
Right.
which is approved by the board of directors. It's not going to be a greed thing here.
Hmm.
You are creating generational wealth in the sense that everyone has employment in that organization and they're working to serve the communities that they live in, communities that are distressed, communities that are underserved. They are working.
Right.
They're not sitting back and saying people just donating money and we're getting paid. No, they are working and their heart is in their business. They're not doing it for the money. Uh, so let's not get it twisted. The funders are not stupid.
Mm.
They know if you're in it for the money or not because
Right.
you'll prove not to be able to do the work. And then whenever there's mismanagement of those grant funds or theft by deception, you can go to jail if you don't pay that money back. So,
Mm.
no, that is not the case where you think you can just start a nonprofit 501c3 and just think that you're not going to be serving the community. Because every grant proposal you are serving, in order to win that money, you got to prove that you can do the work and that you will serve.
So I guess this is where the thought of being in business for a period of time comes in. Whereas
Hmm.
you say you have to prove that you can do the work. So let's say
Yes,
you
you
you you
prove you could do the work by hiring the people that you need. Like if you don't have all the expertise and all the experience, make sure your board of directors bring something to the table. If I want to go into real estate and I'm not a realtor, well, who you think I'm going to put on my board? I'm going to try to collaborate with a realtor and
right,
say, will you serve on my board of directors because you're very intelligent about real estate investing, and I like for you to be on my board. And more
right,
likely they're going to say yes because what? Now they're going to be an employee, consultant, or contractor for that organization. We're not going to pay them to sit on the board, but they'll have a hand in, saying, how things are going to be managed in operations and all that, so everybody is still getting paid a reasonable salary
right, right.
and you're still able to create generational wealth in that your children and grandchildren will have a job, they
Hmm.
have a place, management, upper management levels, you know. So it's all going to work out. It's not going to be something like greed where you just bringing money in and then run with the money. No, can't do that.
So how do people get in trouble? What kind of trouble do they get into? Because you mentioned
Well,
it earlier that
sometimes,
they
like
can.
what you mentioned, people come in with the wrong attitude,
Yes.
or with the wrong idea about granting. The first thing is greed. If you're going to be a person of greed and not really wanting to serve and help others, you're not going to be successful at it.
Hmm.
Running a nonprofit 501c3, because it'll reflect in your proposals. They'll know if you can't hide it. Your heart
Mm.
has to be in the work. They want your personal testimonies too in your proposals. Why are you concerned about your community? Are you really concerned that about what the problem is in your community? What is it that you're trying to correct? What is it that you're trying to stop? Um, end? Are you trying to end homelessness? Or do you really want to feed the hungry? I
Mm-hmm.
mean, so they're going to ask you these questions, and you have to. It's like your proposals have to be competitively persuasive. That you are concerned, about the violence in the community, and that we do need youth development programs to help. Our youth and young adults. You
So
have to prove that. You got to show that. It takes a lot of work.
so when the grant is you've sat down with someone like you and you've created a grant proposal and you submit it, they come back to you with questions like an interview. How when you say they ask questions, how does that go?
Yes. They may ask questions once they receive your proposal. Sometimes they'll ask questions, and sometimes they'll just do the direct deposit of the funding that you requested. Let's say you requested $10 million
Mm-hmm.
to build some assisted living houses for for at-risk youth aging out of youth detention or foster care.
Right.
They need transitional housing to be into a workforce development training program, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they got to have somewhere to stay. You can't study when you're living on the streets and hungry.
Right.
So we create transitional housing for them while they're in a training program, or whether they're in a let's say community college, something like that. We give them scholarships to go to a community college. Um, but while they're in that transition, they need housing. So that would help, with that initiative. So that's a good initiative
Yeah, but
to provide that for them so they don't get in trouble.
right.
They have housing.
So essentially, you're saying if in your proposal, if you go ahead and you submit the proposal, they can ask you what you're doing with it really in an interview
Mhm.
setting. Now you
Yes.
win the grant. They check up on you to see if you're actually doing what you said you were going to do.
Usually they'll ask you to send in a monthly, quarterly, or annual report on the progress of your program.
Mm-hmm.
And, you're sending, let's say you get a grant, you want to set up a sub account with your bank. And so on the bank statement, it'll show how the money is being spent according to the agreement. Because with each proposal, you have to submit a budget and a budget justification as to how you're going to spend the money. And then they want for you to send them a monthly report, let them know how things are going.
Mm-hmm.
If that grant is a cooperative agreement, there's different types of grants. Um,
Mm.
when grants are into the millions of dollars, usually there's going to be some form of cooperative agreement attached to
What
that
does that
they
mean?
would do more oversight, more management, meaning they may do a site visit or talk to your clients, how to see how they're uh, moving along in the program. Let's say you have a youth development program, they do a site visit, they go into the computer lab and they talk with one of the students or your clients. How are you liking the program?
Mm.
How are you progressing in the GED program? They're just talking to them.
Right. Right.
Or they want you to send them a report and let them know how the GED program is progressing.
Oh, okay.
So sometimes there are site visits, and sometimes there are interviews, and sometimes you just send in a monthly or quarterly or annual report. A
Now.
lot of times they're too busy, because we talk about government grants.
Yeah.
They are very busy. They don't have time to do site visits, but they can call you or email you or something like that.
So sometimes that just doesn't happen.
Right. A lot of
Okay.
times there's not going to be a site visit. Everything is done through email
Right.
and phone calls.
Oh, okay. Now,
Mm.
so basically, that's then how people can get in trouble when it is that bit of reporting where you've gotten you won $2 million on a grant, and your report states that, or your spending is showing trips to Fiji and Honolulu and
Mm.
renting a private yacht, and you
Mm-mm.
wrote the
Can't do
grant.
that.
You wrote the grant to feed kids in your community.
Hmm. That's mismanagement of funds, theft by deception. You can't do that. You must prove that you are living by the agreement, because the proposal is saying, this is what I can do for you.
Hmm.
This is a program that's close to my heart, and I want to help my community. And we want to have a food pantry to give the communities, anyone that needs food, they can come to the food pantry and get free food based
Right.
on their income. But if you build a food pantry or you don't build the food pantry, then that's theft by deception, because you said in the proposal that you were going to build a food pantry and distribute food to the homeless and populations that need food.
Right.
But you didn't build the pantry. You went and bought a car instead. Now you got to pay the money back because you did not fulfill the agreement.
Well, what if the car is purchased in to use
No, it
to
has to
do
be
the
for
program?
the agreement. That wasn't in the budget. You
Got
have to
you.
submit a budget and a budget justification saying how you're going to spend the money. So they have to approve your budget,
Hmm.
approve your proposal, approve your budget justification. You have to sign an agreement to say that I'm going to be responsible for the money. I will use it according to the agreement. They're
Right.
not just going to put money into your account without you signing for it with an affidavit saying that this is what you're going to do.
Right.
But
But
if you do what you said you're going to do, you're not going to have any problems. You wrote a proposal that, and you set up a budget for your food pantry, and you told them what you're going to do, and you said you'll be responsible for the money to make sure that project is done. So when you build the food pantry, you got all the food there,
hmm
then you can show them we've purchased this amount of rice, we distributed out this many groceries to these populations, and each person came in, they got a whole box of groceries and they signed for it.
hmm
Here are their signatures and how much food they got. So
so
now you're throwing that you're operational. We're distributing food.
right. I see how
But
that works.
nowhere in that budget did you say that you were going to take 25, $50,000 and go buy your Mercedes.
Right.
You did not put that in the budget, so you cannot buy it. That's mismanagement of funds, and you'll have to pay that money back,
So
because every dollar has to be accounted for based on the proposal that you submitted and that budget that you submitted. You
got
have
you.
to account for that money.
Okay. And can you be somewhat ambiguous in what you're doing as part of your budget? Like say, in part of my as a part of my program, I'll be transporting food from the pantry to these locations, and we'll need to cover transportation. And then out of that,
Eh,
you're saying
As
that you
long as
bought the
you write it,
Mercedes.
as long as what you're writing, because they're going to question, let's say, if you need to transport food,
Hmm.
why couldn't you get a pre owned van in lieu of a private Mercedes.
Gotcha.
You can get a pre-owned van to transport food to wherever you need to take it.
Right.
So is it reasonable to use a private Mercedes
Mm-hmm.
in lieu of a pre-owned van to take the food to where it needs to go? It
Yep.
has to be reasonable,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
allowable, allocable.
Yeah.
If it don't pass that test, you're not going to win the grant. Point blank, period.
Or if it does, if you do manage to get the grant, then here comes the follow up. In your reporting, you have to prove that you have actually used it the right way.
You have to use the money according to the agreement.
There you go. And so
If
is
you're going
this?
to use that money to renovate homes in your community,
Mhm.
you got to show that we purchased this much material to fix that roof. We purchased this much material to install a handicap ramp for this senior citizen. We took a picture of it. We showed our receipts of what we spent to get that ramp built
Mm-hmm.
and the laborers to install it. You prove what you did with the money.
Right.
And you show it by showing them the bank statement. Every grant should have a sub account at the bank so that you don't mix the funds up.
Gotcha.
Because all the money is going to be deposited into one account. When the money gets there, set up a sub account and make sure that each grant has its own account so the money don't get mixed up. And then you can send that statement to the funding agency so they can see that it's recorded with the bank and your receipts match the bank statement that you spent the money according to the agreement.
So, as a sole trader, let's say you started up like most people that do it the other way around and start a for-profit business. You start a little business. You have your little LLC going, and you're not generating that kind of income yet where you can have a business account because of all the fees that are associated with having a business account. So you only have your little personal account that you're running your business out of, and you apply for this grant, and that money gets deposited to your personal business account. Now you have to take that money out and start this sub account or start a business account with that money to show that, hey, all right, here are your funds, and here are the statements that go along with this bank account as per the funds from this grant.
Yes.
Got you. For those of you just joining in, welcome to the broadcast. It's Community and Finance Night. We're talking with Miss Queen Marrero, so that y'all can make sure those of you watching can see her name. It actually is Queen.
Yes.
And she is a queen. Don't get it twisted. She is very much a queen. Queen Marrero. That's Marrero. If you even want to Google her, that's how her name is spelled. And we're talking grants tonight. And this is by no means a lady with just some fly-by-night experience as it comes to grants. She has been doing this for many a year.
Over 30 years, grants and contracts administration.
3 decades. 1, 2, 3. I know she might not really look it. But and yeah, you're looking at a picture, and you might be saying, yeah, it's just a picture. She doesn't really look that way. Yeah, actually, she kind of that picture doesn't really do her justice. She looks younger in person.
Thank you.
and vibrant, quite vibrant. So looking back at the grants, which are the harder grants to get? You said the non-profits tend to be more competitive.
At winning grants.
So if you have a for-profit, and I need to ask you about the individuals too that are applying for grants, just an individual, no business, no nothing applying for grants. But for the for profits, why? How difficult, how challenging is it for your for profits to win grants?
Because usually for profits are trying to get the type of grants that is basically for their organization, not basically for to serve the community. Nonprofits, they have their vision is to serve the community at large.
Mm-hmm.
Um, let's say if you are for profit and you have, let's say, a bike repair shop.
Okay.
That's just for your business. You're doing bicycles.
Mm-hmm.
How does that service benefit the entire community?
But if your for-profit business does work in the community, are you suggesting then that that for-profit business set up a 501c3?
Yeah, for profits, they usually, let's say if you're a small for profit company,
Yes.
I would definitely start a nonprofit arm to that company. I mean, we can learn a lot from other, you know, uh, companies like, it don't have to be a Fortune 500 or Fortune 1000 organization like Home Depot Foundation, Trump Towers, Trump Foundation. You know, Trump Foundation is ran by his children. They're
Mm-hmm.
multimillionaires, Um, one, I think, is a billionaire, but they did it through what? Trump Foundation. you know,
Mm.
uh, small companies have foundations, You don't have to be a huge, big Fortune 500 or something like that organization to have a foundation. You can start out as a foundation. You just have a clothing closet or a food pantry or something of that nature, have, and then uh, you could have, uh, let's say you're a fashion designer.
Mm-hmm.
You do a fashion, just clothing,
Right.
you know. You have a nice boutique downtown, and a lot of the things that you sell are consignment and from local designers, or you're ordering different things, clothing and stuff like
Right.
that.
Right.
You are a for-profit organization.
Right.
How can you can add a nonprofit arm by setting up a small sewing shop and teach youth and young adults how to sew and make different fashions and be able to sell those fashions. Or you can have a section in your boutique that you have rentals
Mm-hmm.
or free clothing to use. You want to say you want to teach them about the business,
Yes.
fashion, and all that. You can also have that as part of your nonprofit to help bring funds in because you're teaching people about the nonprofit, the fashion industry.
Okay.
You're teaching them how to sew. How do you run a boutique? That's nonprofit work. When you're
Gotcha.
bringing someone in, you're working with the local high school with an at-risk youth or a youth that may be pregnant. They
Mm-hmm.
can come in on the job training, you know, so they don't drop out of school. We can help them with daycare expenses, once the baby is born. And then they still have that on the job training. We pay them to come to on job training program because there's a grant for that, $6 million through the Department of Labor to teach youth and young adults, you know, uh, give them on the job training through your business. But a lot of people don't know that.
So, if you run a for-profit, can you do the same thing without setting up a non-profit arm
Well,
with the grant, or is it
you
harder?
can, but why not be competitive and get the money for sure? You can do it as a
A for-profit.
as a for profit, but that's nonprofit work.
Right.
That's nonprofit work when you're helping others in that magnitude. That's nonprofit work. So now you're going to get a higher tax write off. You don't pay taxes.
Mm-hmm.
So why not start the nonprofit for $275?
Got you. That
You
makes
know,
sense. Yes.
it's only $275
So,
to start it. It's just too easy.
so the individuals you mentioned, seniors applying for grants to do home repair.
They can do for home repair, or they can do vocational rehab if they want to learn a certain skill, if they want to go back to school, to college, or whatever. I've seen seniors in college, 70, 75 years old. They're sitting in the classroom.
What about people in their prime? The people in their 30s and 40s.
They can get grants too to go back to school. First generation students. Let's say you're born into a family, you're the first child to ever go to college.
Right.
You can go to college for free as a first generation student, all tuition paid.
Mm.
Hmm.
See, again, things that we're missing out on just
Yeah,
because we don't have the information.
right, right.
Yeah,
Just
there's
uninformed.
another thing I say, from knowledge sprouts power. Learn these
Hmm.
things.
Yeah. And
So,
so, I've even seen government contracts for offered into the millions of dollars for someone to make T-shirts for them. Just, put the T-shirts and with the little logos on them.
yeah,
Millions of dollars for doing that. But we have a lot of T-shirt shops. I mean, for profit
yeah,
T-shirt shops out here doing the T-shirt screening, but none of them are engaged in government contracting. The government needs T-shirts for the military, police officers, you know, even for prisoners. They all need clothing, socks, T-shirts, things of
right,
that nature.
right, right.
But they don't get involved in government contracting.
So,
Why?
even
Because they don't understand. How do you get involved in government contracting? What is the registration process? you know. So the for profit is going to be more competitive at winning those types of contracts,
government contracts.
government contracts, because the nonprofit, they're not going to be doing T-shirt manufacturing. That's not what they do. They'll give away the T-shirts,
Mm, got you. But
but it's the for profit that's
your
doing the
for-profit
T-shirt
company that
manufacturing.
makes T-shirts will do a
Mhm.
non-profit by bringing in at-risk children and
And
even the
teaching them
adults,
how to do
teaching
it.
them how to do it, and then win that government contract for.
So now they're winning grants and contracts. One end they're getting the free labor,
Right,
paying at risk youth and young adults to come in and learn the skills of how to run the business,
right,
how to make the T-shirts, how to do the screening, how to do the computers and all this stuff. They're teaching them this workforce training development. That's on the nonprofit side. And then on the other side, they got the contracts to fill. The government is requesting um, 10 or let's say 500,000 T-shirts by such and such a date and time. You need that labor force right out, get the free labor through the grant program,
right,
and then win the contract. And so you're making money fist over fist.
right. Because you're making money because of the purchase as a result of the government contract for the T-shirts,
Yes,
and you're getting the
it's a
grant to
win-win for
pay for the.
everybody. So you're
Got you.
serving the community. Anytime you're serving the community
Right,
at large, that's grant. That's nonprofit business.
right.
Anytime you're trying to, build up the revenue on the for-profit side,
Mm-hmm.
that's contracts. Get more involved in contracts. I'm telling you, whatever students come to my class and I talk to them,
Yes.
They will understand whatever their skills are, whatever that vision is that they want to do. I can show them how to be both profit and nonprofit. Why not do both?
Yeah, yeah. What about those, since grants are international? So you can live in, okay, I'm Jamaican. You're saying someone in Jamaica can apply for a grant that is being
Yes.
offered here in the United States?
Yes, they can. Grants are global. It doesn't matter. You don't have to be a citizen to win a grant.
Do you have to be
There are different
physically in the
types of
United States?
grants.
You can apply for it from
They can
overseas?
apply from wherever they are. You apply on the World Wide Web. That's,
Right.
you you can just send in your application, your proposal,
Okay. So,
regardless of where you are in the world. And grants will follow you. Let's say, for instance, you have a radio station.
right. Online businesses.
You have
Okay.
an online radio station,
Mm-hmm.
but you want to have a facility and go bigger because you want a bigger network, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
You know, get on the FM radio and just do it large,
Okay.
build a facility, and actually bring participants in to learn radio broadcasting, studio engineering, sound engineering, all these different elements, and learn the business aspect of it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, that's millions right there. Just teaching them how to do it. And then giving them scholarships to go into broadcasting, journalism, and all that, because you can expand what types of program formats that you want to do on your station. We're going to do weather, we're going to do local news, we're going to do
Right.
all these other different aspects of it, and offer, you know, uh, a community announcements, free community announcements, and then having people come in like myself to talk to the public about different things
Right. Right.
that can help, distressed, underserved communities, and all these other initiatives have that platform
Do
and be able to.
online businesses apply for grants also?
Yes, they do. It's a business. You
So,
need revenue. Every business needs revenue to do what they do.
mhm.
Your time is valuable.
So you don't have to have a brick and mortar location. You can be all virtual and still apply for your grants. All you need to do is make sure you're meeting the requirements of
The
the
community.
proposal.
Exactly. Yep.
Nice. You see, again, these are the things that people miss out on.
And you
How
know
quickly?
what? Even
Yeah.
during this pandemic time, a lot of businesses did not have that online platform that would have been saved. Let's say on your website, do you have a shopping cart for your product and services?
Hmm.
If they would have had a website that have a shopping cart attached to it where people can still purchase products and services, their businesses would be sustained. But they did
Correct.
not think that, to put that on their website.
Right.
So a lot of businesses fail. But if you have a business, you should have a way where people can walk in your establishment and they can also order online.
Mm.
And that more business would have been saved that way.
When
Even restaurants, now that we have, delivery,
yeah,
because I may not go to your restaurant in person during the pandemic, but I can order the food and you can deliver it to me,
correct.
you know.
For the duration of time that it takes when you have completed your application, you submitted it. How long does it generally take for a response?
Usually 30 to 90 days. Because they have to get a board together and review and grade your proposal, do the interview and all that. And you got some paperwork to sign for the money. So usually within 30 to 60 days, the money is direct deposited into your business checking account.
Or if you don't have a business checking account because you're just starting out, then it's whatever account you have provided.
Then you won't win the grant. You
Ah,
must be
there.
registered to receive the money. You must have a way for them to get the money to you. They're not going to send you a check. They're not going to send you a money order. None of
No, this is
that.
what I'm saying.
It's
You
all direct deposit into your business checking
not
account.
your personal checking account, your business checking
Well,
account.
if you're applying as a person, as an individual, you're still going to need a checking account
Right.
or some kind of way for them to get that money to you electronically. So they deposit to a checking account. They're not going to mail you a check. They used to do that, but they don't do that anymore.
So
There's
where
a registration process. If you are an individual, there's a registration process that you have to be registered as an individual and have an account set up to receive your money. If you are a business, you have to have a checking account, a business checking account. If you're if you applied as a business, then you got to have a business checking account. Point blank period. Or you're not going to get the money.
right. For the individuals, I was just gonna ask you something, and I started thinking about what you were saying, and I lost track of what I was gonna say. Those looking for the contracts, where do they go to find them? Is there a place? Do they contact someone like you? Is it that they have to always go through someone, or can they
No,
go somewhere?
there are government contract databases that they will have free access to search for their contracts. When they take the class, I show them the database. I show them how to register. I show them how to search for the different contracts. So that they have to go to class and learn.
Okay.
But I do teach that. But there are free databases where the money is, thousands and thousands of contracts.
But the important thing is to learn how to
How
structure.
to register. You got to be registered to receive grants and contracts.
Okay.
So I go over the registration process. How do we register individually? How do we register the business?
And then, so how to register, how to write an effective proposal would be the next thing, next question to ask. And what after that? So you register, you put together a boss proposal. What then? What's after that? It's just
Then
sit
you
and wait?
submit your proposal. You got to submit it.
Right. So you sit and wait after submission.
Yeah, you wait. They'll tell you in the instructions. Every grant, especially government grants, come with instructions. And you have to read the instructions. The number one reason why people do not win their grant is because they didn't read the instructions.
As
They do
simple
not
as that.
read and follow the instructions. That's the only reason, not the only reason for denial, but the primary reason why people are denied grants is they did not read the instructions and follow those instructions.
Oh, well, that sounds simple enough.
And the instructions will tell you when you will get notified of whether you or if you won the award or not. They'll notify you. And if you got notified and you were denied, don't think of it as a permanent denial. think of it as a delay because you can write back and ask why your proposal was denied. And they'll tell you why. They'll write back and tell you why your proposal was denied. Make the corrections and reapply.
Oh.
hmm That's all you do. Because the same grant comes around every year.
So, people tend to
Most of
take
them,
that
anyway.
no, and that's it. Oh, I was denied. You
Oh,
know what? I'm
no.
not going back.
Find
That's
out why were you denied and make your corrections and reapply next year when the grant comes back around. Most government grants are offered every year, but you can only apply every 12 months. So take note of it, write the date of denial down on your proposal, and then keep a lookout for it. So when it comes around again, you're ready. You made all the corrections, now you're ready to apply. And
simple.
then this time you should win it. So
You know,
it's really not a true denial. The
yeah.
government is trying to get money to you. They're not trying to hold it because if they don't get rid of the money, they get budget cuts. And the same thing with foundations. They're trying to get money to you.
hmm
You submit them a good proposal in good faith, they're going to give you the money,
Right.
you know? Or, if they don't get rid of a certain percentage of their net or gross income that they come in, that gross revenue
Yes.
that comes into that foundation, if they don't get rid of it, they could lose their 501c3 status. So they're not trying to lose that 501c3 status because it gives them a higher tax break if they give the money to the public instead of paying it in taxes. So they rather not pay, you know, 85, 90% in taxes when they can just give the money away at a lesser percentage, like a 20 or 30% of that to the charity, and then not have to pay taxes.
Right.
And,
Okay.
they don't lose their nonprofit status. They got to get rid of the money. So a lot of times they won't even have deadlines on when you should submit your proposal. They're like, just send it in
hmm
anytime, just send it in.
How
They
how
just
f-
can't advertise it on TV and radio. I'm sure they wish they could. Y'all, everybody, send your proposal so we can get rid of this money,
how
and I
often
won't
can
have to
you
pay
apply?
taxes.
How often can you apply for a grant
Every 12 months
for uh, for that particular grant?
for that particular grant. But there's no limit to how many grants and contracts you can apply for at one time. Just apply for as many you think you can manage.
Now, what if you apply for them all and you get them all, not really realizing?
Just make sure you can manage it.
So if you can't, then what? You give the money
Don't
back?
send the money back. Hire who you need to help you, but never send the money back.
What's the problem with sending the money back?
Then they won't send it to you no more because they're trying to get rid of money. And you put them in a bad spot if you can't spend it.
Mm.
They're trying to get money out. That you send the money back, then they got to report that, oh crap, these people sending money back. That don't make us look good. We're going to lose, because they're supposed to get rid of that money. They don't get rid of the money, they could, face budget cuts and lose their 501c3 status.
Oh wow.
So it hurts them when you send money back. They're trusting you to spend it correctly.
Yeah.
Spend it according to the agreement. And then they will call you and say, can you spend a couple of million in like 2 more months? We had some people send some money back and we're trying to get rid of it. So you're like, what? How am I going to spend $3 billion in 2 weeks? Oh, look, I know you can find some kind of way to do this. They're trying to beg you to take the money and please to
But
spend it by
by
such
any
and
means
such time.
necessary.
Yes. So they're begging you, please take the money.
Wow.
And you're like, man, they're going to call me and say, they got this money left over. Can I spend it in 3 weeks? you're thinking, oh man, what can the world can I buy? What can I do? Don't you can you build some more houses? Get a contract together real quick.
Wow. Miss
Do
Queen,
something.
you people need to get in touch with you and take your class and find
Hmm.
out where they can get their hands on these. There are businesses out there that are struggling, and
They
here,
need to tap into these grants. Oh my God.
yeah,
We just saw one for 10 million. There's another one for 5 million. I mean, just to help businesses who are struggling during this climate. Don't close them doors. Go and get these grants. They got these loan forgiveness programs too. You don't have to pay the loan back.
Miss
And
Queen.
I show you exactly where to find them. And the application is so easy. Only about 2 or 3 pages you got to fill out and go ahead and get your money.
The
The
people.
turnaround is usually less than 30 days on those.
So there are people that are listening to this live, on multiple platforms out of the UK, One
Hmm.
Harmony Radio, the
Hmm.
Foundation Radio Network, ClintonLindsay.com out of South Florida, NIE Radio in New Jersey, Island
Grants are
Worldwide
global.
in New
Tap into
York,
that resource.
WGLRO, Ollewap Radio, Dusik Media Groups, all out of Texas, PEMGTV.com. People are listening live from all over right now.
The
How can
money
they?
is there waiting, waiting.
How can
Go for it.
how can they get in touch with you to get more information? How if they want to learn how to do what you do? How can they get in touch with you?
What they need to learn is how to start and grow a business, whether it's profit or nonprofit.
Mm-hmm.
Grants and contracts are out there for them
Right.
to tap into that money because everyone has a vision or a gift or talent that God has given them. And if you are serious about serving the communities that you live in, whether it's for your town, your city, your county, your state,
Mm-hmm.
nationally, internationally, grants are global. The money is there to help you start, sustain, and grow your businesses to help, especially during this time, this pandemic, this economic crisis, even global crisis concerning environmental things like what's happening in Haiti. People need help, and the harvest is right. It's just the laborers are few,
Yeah.
and people not knowing where to go to get the monetary resources that they need so that they can help. So I would advise everyone to check out my website, cbirinc.com. And you have that information too, Kevin.
All right. Yes.
Um, I'll send it to you if you don't. But they can look at my homepage. They can look at my registration website and look at what classes are being offered. The classes are offered live webinar by Zoom platform. So I get to see you, you can see me, and you can raise your hand and ask questions. It's just like being in a classroom, but it's a virtual classroom.
Mm-hmm.
It is live, and you will learn a lot, and you will get emailed a lot of information. Some of the classes I sent out free grant funding opportunities that match your vision. So you can go ahead and, like for the grant writing class, you tell me what industry you in and what you need the grant for. I'll find the grant and send it to you. So, and then I give you a proposal template so you can draft your proposal in class. Um, so I teach you all that, how to develop that grant proposal
Mm-hmm.
and finding grants, finding contracts. You get step by step instruction on everything, and you also get emailed class material. You may have homework assignments that you send-ins, because we do have a training development program, business development training program that you can be engaged in to earn a certification as in entrepreneurial development and grant writing. It's a wonderful program. You get a lot of perks for being in the program as a certified professional.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so that's another thing they can be engaged in to help them secure the funding that they need.
Right.
So the money is there.
So all they
And,
have to do is go to your website for starters to reach
mm-hmm.
out to you, and that's
Yeah, they can call me. I prefer they email me at qmarrero21 qmarrero21gmail.com. Email me, set up an appointment for an initial consultation. Tell me what it is that you want. So that email again is qmarrero21 at gmail.com.
let me go ahead
If
and
you
put it
would,
in the chat so that
yeah,
people can
put
get it.
that in the chat. qmarrero21 at gmail.com. Email me. Let me know what it is you want to do. And that can be your initial starting point. And I will email you the guidance and everything to help you get started
Mm-hmm.
in securing funds that you need.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if there's anything else that anybody could want. You know, you've provided without giving the class away for free. You've provided quite a bit of information, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. You
Yeah,
know,
that's just a tip.
you know,
They
we've
get a
talked a little
whole
bit.
lot more good information in
Yes,
class,
yes,
and then they get the class materials. I mean, it's so much step-by-step guidance and everything. You don't have to worry about taking notes because everything I talk about in class, you're going to get it in writing.
right.
So we don't just talk about the money being there. I show you where it is and how to apply for it.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to find, apply, and win grants and contracts. Step-by-step instruction. And you
Nice.
can win at this. I had one young lady, she took my grant writing class,
Mm-hmm.
and she was basically just playing around, you know, with what she learned in class and won $5 million. She was so scared. She called me. She was happy. And then she said, "Oh my God, I'm going to jail because I lied. I don't have none of this stuff." And they believe me. I said, "What?" She said, "This Queen, they have
Wow.
deposited $5 million into my account." And she said, "I don't have none of that stuff. I got to send the money back." I said, "Oh, no, don't you send that money back. You do everything you wrote."
So
And she did. She did everything she wrote. She went ahead and created the company. She hired the people she needed. The people she wanted on her board, all of them said yes, and they helped her. And now she's getting that funding every year.
wow.
And she was just playing around. I just wanted to see if what you
So
said was true and if it worked, you know. She said, "Oh, this stuff is real. This stuff works."
and she started a non for profit.
She started a nonprofit 501c3, and she also has a for profit.
Mm.
And get this, her for profit has to do with housing. And she is
Oh,
not a realtor,
look at
but
that.
she hired real estate people to be on her board and advisory board. So, independent housing is for people who can afford to pay for their homes. They're affordable homes, low income,
Right.
affordable homes. Those who cannot afford to buy a home, like they're on a fixed income,
Mm-hmm.
she has assisted living. So they pay rent. And that rent money is continuous every month, over 100 units paying rent. And
Wow.
everything is already paid for with the grant. And
Look at
they're
that.
still paying rent.
Yeah.
How great is that? And everybody's happy. And they get personal care services, you know, if they need it. They let her know what services and they pay extra for the services.
Mm-hmm.
Through the profit, those who can't pay for the services is through the nonprofit. The grant cover it.
Look at that.
Wow, it's wonderful. It's a wonderful program. She worked for DFACS, and she was a social worker.
Mm-hmm.
She said, Miss Queen, do I need to leave my job? I said, honey, you got 5 million reasons to leave your job. As a social worker with DFACS. But she had those connections in there.
Right.
So she was able to get collaborations with DFACS to help with the housing, find the populations that needed the housing, because they were full. They people on the waiting list waiting for houses. So she had to create more communities to house these people.
Wow.
She will have housing for everyone forever. And now her children and grandchildren will have a place to work and grow and learn the business. She's leaving a legacy.
Yep. Yep. That's exactly what
Mhm.
she's doing.
And she was just playing around. She just took a one grant writing class from Miss Queen. And now
Look at
look,
that.
wow, creating generational
Hey,
wealth.
Miss Queen, you are. I told you this when I met you, and I actually sent a message to a friend of mine. We were talking about grants before I met you,
Hmm.
like a few days before, and I sent a message and I said I just met the most awesome woman, and my friend thought I was talking about someone that I was gonna be hooking up with,
Hmm.
and I'm like, yeah, we're hooking up, but not the way you'd think. I said, stay tuned. You gotta find out.
Yes, yes. And I love I really love what I do in helping people find the funding that they need,
Yes.
because I really do believe that when God gives you vision, he gives provision.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need to go into debt trying to bring a vision that God has gave you to fruition.
Right.
God will provide. And I believe with grants and contracts, that is provision for you.
Mm-hmm.
That is provision for you to leave an inheritance for your children and grandchildren.
Yes.
But
Indeed.
you just
Indeed.
gotta have a heart. You have to put your heart into it, and that'll be reflective in what you do, that your heart is in it. This is not just for the money, you know. Some people may, say, oh, it's for the money, I need it, da, da, da. They won't be successful at it when they start looking at it from the money aspect. But when you look at it from a service aspect,
Mm-hmm.
I just want to serve, I want to help. I see, my heart goes out when I see or hear of this or that. I want to help some
Right.
kind of way to stop this violence, to stop this and that.
Right.
But what can you do to help? Don't say, you know, oh my goodness, what are we going to do with the youth of today? They have no respect for their elders. Well, can you create a program to help them interact with elders? Maybe they could, have respect from that point perspective. Elders have a lot of information to give.
So true.
Can you start a construction company and have youth go out and renovate homes? Just doing simple handyman services
Right.
and then get to know their elders. Oh, I like her. She was so nice. She offers us cookies and Kool-Aid while we worked on the house. I want to do a really good job for her.
Yeah.
I want to fix her floor. I wanted to put that ramp there. How is that? Ma'am, can you get up and down the ramp? Okay, let me help you. Now they're building that respect because they're working with their seniors.
Right. Right.
So that's just from doing simple handyman construction type, home renovation type stuff. Kids need to learn that. Some of them can't even hit a nail with a hammer.
Mm.
They got to be taught. What can we do to help? Think out of the box. If money was not the problem,
Yeah.
what would you do to help? I
Right.
would do this, and this, and this if I didn't have to think about the money out of it. God, He provides whatever's on your heart that you want to do to serve others. And then as you serve, the money will come in good measure, pressed down, shaken
Shaken
together,
together and
and running
running
over.
over. Yep.
Will men give unto your bosom? People are giving you money. They're donating cars and buses and land and real estate. All types of money just coming from everywhere. You're like, the only problem you probably have is how the heck you're going to manage all that money.
Mm.
Don't
Right.
think about the money. It will come and it be flooding in.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Just be ready. And that's what I teach you in my classes. How do you prepare for this? All of the experiences that you've been through has prepared you for this. You'll know who to contact and who not to contact. And it's lonely at the top. You can't
Mm-hmm.
bring everybody with you up
Right.
there,
Right.
you know, but it'll all work out. You just trust God and move forward. Step out in faith. Go for it.
That's right. You
That's
got to
all you have
start
to do.
somewhere
You got to start because
and
faith without
sometime.
work is dead.
Yep.
Faith without work is dead. You got to have faith that God has given you the vision to move forward to help others, especially during this climate. We need help out here. We need help with climate change because all these different things that are going on. The animals need help. The planet needs help.
You
I
know,
mean,
last
people need
week,
help.
when we were playing phone tag. Funny you talk about raising awareness to global warming and such. I was hosting the launch of an art exhibit at a Caribbean museum, first Caribbean museum here in South Florida,
Hmm.
only one of its kind.
Hmm.
And there was the first Jamaican woman on record to visit Antarctica. She had an
Wow.
exhibit,
Hmm.
and I had the privilege of hosting it.
Hmm.
And that was why we were playing phone tag that day, because I was doing that. And here it is.
Hmm.
You just mentioned, raising awareness, and this is what one of the things that she is doing with this exhibit. She did it in Jamaica. She did an exhibit she did the exhibit to Jamaica, and showed young people that, yeah, it's in the news that Jamaicans are everywhere. Here's proof. First Jamaican on record to go to Antarctica. And she took pictures of the seals and the penguins and taught the kids about what they're doing there in little Jamaica and how it is
Hmm.
affecting thousands of miles away in Antarctica
Hmm. Hmm.
just by what they're doing to the environment.
And she can get grants as an individual to promote what she does.
Yes.
Even she can get a grant because that's going to help spread information about, climate change and global warming and all that.
Yeah.
So
So,
she can get grant funding to help her.
Judith Falloon Reed, if you're listening, as you sometimes do, you can get a grant for inspiring
Mhm.
Antarctica.
Wow.
Uh,
Yep. There are grants
Queen,
out there for about everything you can think of. I'm serious. People just need to understand and how to go about winning grants and contracts and everything. Well, I'm getting
Miss
sleepy
Queen.
now. I'm going to have to sign off.
Hey, now I was about to say, I want to thank you for taking time out once again to join us, to be with us. CBIRinc.com is the website you need to visit, people, and you need to email her. Q, as in Queen, Q Marrero, Marrero, 21. That's Queen Q Marrero 21, the number 2 and the number 1, 21, at gmail.com.
Yes, QMarrero21,
So
gmail.com. Mm-hmm.
email her, go to the website, reach out to her, see what is offered, and say DJ Kevin Stew sent you.
Yes.
Call my name. She'll know exactly where it was that you got the information. Just call my name. Just say Kevin Stew. And she'll go, oh, okay.
Yes.
Where do we go from here? Because if you contact her, that means that you're ready to do something.
Mm-hmm.
And she will hit you with it right off the bat. Where do we go from here?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Queen.
Thank you, and good night, everybody.
Have a great night.
You too. Good night.
Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Queen Marrero. It doesn't really get any better than that at all. Any which way you try it, any which way you slice it. Don't hesitate. Go ahead. Start making moves right now. Because you can do it.
Here I am.
As we get into musical therapy for the last 15 minutes of this broadcast, we are on a mission. Son of Hezron, what's your mission right now? What is it that drives you? Whether you have a non-for-profit or a non-profit, which way you want to call it, or you have a for-profit. You're an individual. You live outside the US. It doesn't matter. You can get a grant to help do what you want to do. Just connect to the right people and ask the right questions and do the right proposal, and boom, you're there.
Doing extraordinary things. Smallest eyes rock the biggest bones. So who said it can't be done? Well, here I am, ready for the test, ready with a clasp of hands. Yeah, here I am, a man on a mission. Yeah, a man on a mission. I'm a man on a mission. On the battlefield, still hungry for the believe. If you believe you can achieve it, and when you see, just take it. The world is yours, the world is mine. Let's live our dream, yeah. So who said we can't? It can't be done. Well, here I am, ready for the test, ready with a clasp of hands. Yeah, here I am. A slice of the cake. Get out the way, get out the way. I'm coming from a slice of the cake. What you gonna say now? What you gonna do? What I'm gonna do? Ready or not, ready for the test, get in. Ready with a clasp of hands. Yeah, here I am. I'm a man on a mission. Man on a mission, yeah. I'm a man on a mission. Get out the way. I'm coming from a slice of the cake. Man on a mission.
But still I not break.
This is the son of David Powell.
Watch the world spin, or take a look at everything that's happening. Hey,
It's called Life Hard. But understand this, heights of great men reached and kept were not attained by a sudden flight. So things tough, things rough, don't give up.
We now give up the fight, can't give up the fight. Life hard, but we still a live it up. Don't say it up, but we still a fist it up. Don't life hard, but we still a live it up. We now give up the fight. Heights of great men. Say life hard, but me going. Enough time to see, mommy cry from me growing. No time to smile, cause you know what's happening. I pick up on the road and take on the beast master. I fi stay under control. I fi have that mindset, stay true to your goal. I fi have that drive, the hunger in your soul. You alone on the highway, but you have to the toll, hey. Cause you buck up in a hidden out there. I fi stay strong in a the Gideon. I fi have a heart of a lion. Stay strong in a Zion. I'm more than a conqueror, yeah. From J.A. Thank God I got rid of few of them are real, yeah. Brother and sister, them tougher than steel, yeah. I one link so you know the thing seal, yeah. I one link so you know the thing real. Life hard, but we still a live it up. No say it rough, but we still a fist it up, down. Life hard, but we still a live it up. We now give up the fight, can't give up the fight. Life hard, but we still a live it up. No say it up, but we still a fist it up, down. Life hard, but we still a live it up. We now give up the fight. Heights of great men. They call me mommy, daddy, proud of me. So Jaja beg you spread the love all over me. Cause when me take a trip right down to memory lane, me broke up in a sorrow and pain. Hey, while you rise to see the sun, you love a pull you down. Trying to discredit the works you have done. Selector, keep it on repeat. Tell them God not sleep. Cause none of them are over now I move like sheep. I was some people are free, no work and pure gettings. I'm on another level, yo, a different settings. Man will never sell them soul. Man rather be a soldier, so silver and gold. And no nothing cause me know ya. Say man I work and I press from day one. Roughest and the toughest, I was born in a plain land. And every youth you have the strength of a nation. Man have to work for the more. Life hard, but we still a live it up. No say it rough, but we still a fist it up, down. Life hard, but we still a live it up. We now give up the fight, can't give up the fight. Life hard, but we still a live it up. No say it rough, but we still a fist it up, down. Life hard, but we still a live it up. We now give up the fight. Heights of great men. See, we never giving up. Oh Lord, we never giving up. Yeah, yeah. Heights of great men. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I say God not sleep, we never giving up. God not sleep, so we never giving up for paradise. We never giving up. We never giving up.
The son of David Powell
No.
says life hard, but we're not giving up. No matter what. That's right, cause we can't give up the fight. This is JQ, track called Ghetto Morals.
They get up to be the grade that seems so normal. Don't underestimate my ghetto morals. Encourage intellectual statistics from the ghetto. I'm artistic, painting a brighter picture for my future. Now go make the ghetto where me come from define me. Now go make the system deprive me. The flowers that grows in the ghetto knows more about survival than the ones from the meadow. United we stand, but divided we can fall. What is wrong with this economy and their ideologies? Read your mind of racial segregation. Read your mind of racial segregation. Real fertile like a almime, so me rhyme so prolific. I'm highly cultivated, so now watch the image. Me not gonna make the ghetto where me come from define me. Not gonna make the system deprive me. When you live in the ghetto to be degraded seems so normal. Don't underestimate my ghetto mom. more rats. Encourage intellectual statistics from the ghetto. I'm artistic, painting a brighter picture from my future. Not because my born in the ghetto, me not this, so me I go stay. The future belongs to the ones who prepare from today. A hustler in the ghetto, that is what I got to be, to fight the odds and free myself from the heart of poverty. When you live in the ghetto, to be degraded seems so normal. Don't underestimate my ghetto morals. Encourage intellectual statistics from the ghetto. I'm artistic, painting a brighter picture from my future.
Yeah, it all depends on how you look at things, you know. Don't let where you're from define you. Don't let the situation that you're in confine you. Don't let anyone come and try to kill your vibe. This is Kerima. Called Don't Kill My Vibes.
Energy, please don't kill my vibe. Don't kill my vibe. Don't kill my vibe. Positive energy, please don't kill my vibe. Don't kill my vibe. Positive energy, please don't kill my vibe. Don't kill my vibe. Don't kill my vibe. Positive energy, please don't kill my vibe. Don't kill my vibe. Now make it rain on my parade. No, not today. Me not gonna make you switch my energy. Don't care just what you're talking about. Won't run off your mouth. A positivity that me ever say. See, I am feeling good vibration, sweeping this nation. And me now on a moderation. See, I am feeling good vibration, sweeping this nation. And me now on a positive energy. Please don't kill my vibe. Don't kill my vibe. Don't kill my vibe. Positive energy. Please don't kill my vibe. Don't kill my vibe. Positive energy. Please don't kill my vibe. Don't kill my vibe. Don't kill my vibe. Positive energy. Please don't kill my vibe. Don't kill my vibe. Your bad mind contagious like corona. Nice all your mind, no bring that around you. Cleanse and purify and better your persona. Your bad mind gonna put you in a coma. See, every time you win, you pray for my like them. I realize you hate yourself, it coming from within. I know me not gonna stop, keep rising to the top and building my empire that you want. Positive energy, please don't kill my vibe. Don't kill my vibe. Don't kill my vibe. Positive energy, please don't kill my vibe. Don't kill my vibe. Positive energy, please don't kill my vibe. Don't kill my vibe. Don't kill my vibe. Positive energy, please don't kill my vibe. Don't kill my vibe. Now make a rain on my parade. No, not today. And now gonna make you switch my energy. Knock it
Want to thank you all for tuning in.
out. Gonna run out.
Good morning, good afternoon, good day to you wherever you are in the world. From right here in South Florida, I wish you good night. Remember to look out for members of your community, and your community is not just the development that you live in, but it spreads far and wide. Whether you walk, ride, or drive, take the bus, the plane, the boat, or the train, the people you pass along the way, these are members of your community. Do something good for one of them today, because you never know who's going to do something good for you tomorrow. My name is DJ Kevin Stewart, so I'd like to do it to you, for you, and with you. Signing off from the night shift to DJ Kevin Stewart's Community and Finance Night. Remember, catch a podcast of the same name, the night shift to DJ Kevin Stewart. Check to YouTube. Of course, you can find links to all that on kevinstew.com, yeah? Catch you tomorrow. Healthy Love Tuesday. Until then, y'all take care.
Quality Media Group, innovative streaming and recording, has done it again. A new way to get your business in full view of your neighborhood consumer through AdShare TV. It's available in your neighborhood today. It's easy. Just call us 754-999-6020. Become a host today and place a TV monitor in a strategic location so it's easy to see. Get a 1-minute video ad or longer that plays anywhere in our network. Can't be a host? No problem. For a few dollars, we'll run your 30-second video ad. A host can run announcement specials like buy one get one free or discount ads. Let's turn your flyers into a 30-second video with music or a voiceover, or let us create and run your video ad with a spokesperson. Take advantage of our early enrollment discount. Join us today. Your ad will be seen at least 30 times per day in your AdShare TV neighborhood. It's easy. Just call us 754-999-6020. AdShare TV, part of Pulsing Media Group.
Greetings and salutations, one and all. You're invited to tune in to the Night Shift with DJ Kevin Stew. It airs on Mondays with Community and Finance, Tuesdays with Healthy Love, and Wednesdays with Real Talk from 10 p.m. to midnight Eastern Time. Come spend some time interacting in the stew pot where we keep things bubbling and wind down in musical therapy. The Night Shift with DJ Kevin Stew is on kevinstew.com, where you're encouraged to have acceptance through enlightenment.